What's up, everybody? So I'm here in a beach in Playa del Carmen, Mamitas Beach, and today I want to talk about how blessed I am, how this is probably a much more affordable and almost equally as amazing of a beach than the Cancun area of Mexico, and how accessible it is. And I just want to talk about my gratitude for travel and kind of life and travel hacking, since I have been traveling the world for almost a year now. And beaches like this are something that most people get to visit in the US, at least, because they only have 2 weeks vacation. They may get to see it like 2 weeks a year. I used to be like those people. I used to live in the suburbs of a state in the US that had no accessible beaches. The closest beach was like a 7 or 8 hour drive, and it wasn't a good beach. And so I went from seeing the beach 0 times a year, maybe once every other year if I decided to go to a country for vacation to see a beach, to essentially life hacking. And this is probably like I've lost count. Probably I've visited so many different beaches over this year. South Beach in Miami, um, Da Nang Beach in Vietnam, that one was also incredible. And Bali, there's beaches there in Uluwatu and Canggu. You get the point. Even went to a beach in Busan, Korea. And so I can't say I have it all figured out, because for me, I don't have an online business. I'm simply using savings. And so I haven't figured that part out, but I'm happy where I am. Of course, I would like to maybe one day start a business that works, but my advice and how I've done it is essentially just use savings and know how to use that properly, by identifying the locations where it is easy to commute to, or just affordable once you get there. And just knowing these places and going to them, I think, is still very much an underutilized thing. People will spend thousands upon thousands for a 2 or 3 day or 4 day resort in Cancun, which is literally just 30 miles up. Or you can spend $30 a night at a hostel, like maybe 20 miles south of Cancun, here in Playa del Carmen. And then the beach is almost just as good. Sure, it's not as amazing as the colors in Cancun, but still really good, and it's free and accessible. So think of the differential in cost, maybe a couple $100 when you add in food you buy at a restaurant and the bus ticket. And the beauty of this place, which I think I will return to, is that it is so accessible from the US. You don't need to spend spend 15 hours in a airplane to get to this place like you would to Vietnam from the US, or Indonesia, or the Philippines. And depending on where you are in the US, it could be a 2 hour flight or less, especially if you're in the southern US. And on top of all that, you can literally, it is a 1 hour bus ride from the Cancun airport to here. But within a few hours, within the same day, you can leave wherever you are and then get here, and then still spend fairly affordably. The food, the rent and stuff here is pretty much cheaper than in the US. And then there's other life hacking things you can do. I think one of the biggest mistakes is that the people are double paying for rent. So they're still paying for rent or their home in the US, and then they're paying for rent here. For me, and I think a lot of people, they just want to settle down, they want to live that standard American life. But I always kind of I try to keep the rent terms as short as possible. For some places it was month to month, others it was year to year, and that allowed me the mobility to end rent whenever I needed to. and that's what I did. I am not double paying rent. I just have all the stuff I have in storage, and it's not a lot of stuff. I really consolidated the amount of stuff I had because I knew I wanted to travel. And here, you know, you got some people right there. Literally, you get to eat fruit on the beach, and on top of that, there's all sorts of really nice stuff here. There's the beach. You can drink beer, water. So affordable, and so this is something I want to try more of. I did a lot of travel where you had to go all the way to Europe or Southeast Asia or East Asia, but here is something. While I have been to Mexico, it's usually Cancun resorts twice, and then you know, a day trip to Tulum, a group tour. So there's a lot more you can explore in Mexico and Central and South America, and I recommend packing light. I see a lot of these tourists and they have multiple giant suitcases per person, and I did that going to Asia. I had a big giant suitcase and a carry-on, which my longtime traveler friend, he recommended, and even that I think was too much. But if you're just going to Mexico from the US, that's like a couple hour flight. Pack light, just pack one backpack of stuff. It's much lighter to carry, and you don't really need that much stuff once you're here. And I think that's something to consider too. I think people pack too much. It's different if you're maybe, I don't know, traveling to Southeast Asia or Australia, like I kind of was doing. And other than that, like, just pack light, because it's going to be much easier to get around. But yeah, just really blessed to be here, and the views. Even this this thing I didn't pay for. Apparently there are free umbrellas, and just really blessed to be here.